right, thanks for watching Things I Learned Last Night. If you want to go any further in this episode, though, we're going to have to see some real ID. That's a real thing right now. You cannot continue without it. So show us that little star on your ID if you want to see the rest of this.
I hate that. It's a stupid bit. Oh my gosh. All right. This is Things I Learned Last Night. It's a comedy podcast. We're going to learn some stuff. Let's get into it. Juicy Americus Abbas. Juicy. This is
Pope Juicy.
This is a Pope or Emperor?
Emperor. This is Emperor Juicy. This is Emperor Juicy.
Am I right? Popes be kissing, bro.
Popes be kissing. I'm going to kiss that Pope.
Things I Learned Last Night.
Hey, man.
What's up, dude?
Have you ever heard of...
I'm so excited to be here. I love doing this podcast, man. I just want you to know that.
Okay, good. Happy. Yeah, have you ever heard of the Cadaver Synod?
Say the second word. Cadaver
Synod.
Synod.
Synod. SYNOD. Synod.
No.
Okay.
Cadaver's dead body.
Yeah, to some.
Hey.
Here, we'll start this. Have you ever heard of hold on, let me make sure I get this name right.
Each other? You know what it is? I think the table's further away.
Is it? You want to pull it in?
Yeah.
Pull it in. Oh yeah, that's nice.
It feels cozier.
This does feel.
I think we had pushed it out. We had clients in here earlier.
We did. That's right. We're a business.
We're realtors.
You want us to sell your house?
We're not good at it.
We haven't sold a single one.
Having gone through the real estate license process, I understand. Realtors and used car salesmen are just middlemen that don't need to exist. There's no reason for their only job is to racket up the industry to get more
make it
and
cost more. Yeah. I mean, sorry if you're a realtor.
I'm not.
But Jaron doesn't think you should have a job.
I don't think that what you're doing is an actual job.
Yeah. Okay.
Build a house with your hands. You're just a middleman. And honestly, there's probably some realtor who's like kind of having some existential crisis. And realtors really are, what else are they? Let's say it together. Failed models. And so it's all these, or failed musicians.
Or failed failures.
Failed creatives.
Failed creatives.
It's people who have no actual marketable skills. And so they go, I'll get my real estate license because I dropped out of college. And what else am I going to do? And so anyway, I like them. And if you want to book me for a realtor conference, I would love to come do jokes. And I promise I won't do those. If you book me for a realtor conference, I'll make fun of nurses. Nurses are
just
not
failed
the backbone. What are they? Failed realtors. Anyway.
Yikes.
I love being on this podcast, man. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, good. Have you heard of Formosus?
No. Okay.
Yeah, Formosus.
Cadaver Synod.
Formosus, I'm pretty sure is Latin for nice face.
Okay.
Hold on, let me double check that actually. Yeah, well-formed. It's Latin for well-formed. Okay, we'll start from the top. Let me show you this picture. This is a guy by the name of Formosus.
That's a
Don't laugh at him. He's a good-looking fellow. He's a good-looking guy.
He has the same haircut. Oh my gosh, man.
I will say that haircut.
That's a choice.
We haven't seen that haircut in a long time.
Is that something you should do, dude?
It's the male pattern
for audio listeners, he's bald. It's male pattern baldness. He's got the hair on the sides above the ear, and then he's got like a unicorn little group of hair
on
the top of his forehead.
And it's very small. It really is like a unicorn horn.
Yeah. And
I love it. I personally am a big fan. Here's the deal. I do want to make notice of something real quick before we get too far into this episode.
Okay.
I have a message for Walton Goggins. Walter Goggins, or is it Walton? Walton. Sorry.
What do you want to say to Walton?
Walton Goggins. Thank you. I do just want to say thank you to Walton Goggins.
Yeah, your
I
sunglasses
appreciate
company
you.
has changed my whole life. What are you talking about?
No. I've noticed a trend on social media. Here's the deal. Walton, it makes more sense because you're about 20 years my elder, but your hairline is receding. I'm sure you're aware. Mine is also started a lot earlier than yours did, I'm sure. But his most recent role in
White Lotus.
There's a lot of chatter on social about.
Technically, his most recent role is Gemstones, but yeah.
I guess, yeah. Another recent role at White Lotus. There's been a lot of chatter on social about how good his receding hairline looks. Like how good it is.
Are you going to grow your hair out like you're going to do the long hair like he does?
Well, what I'm trying to say is thank you for making receding hairlines cool. Like, because now I don't have to feel bad. Because now I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the Walton Goggins.
I hate that this is a little earnest.
I'm doing the Goggins thing. Like, yeah, I'm
doing the Goggins thing.
Yeah, I'm just Goggin.
What
are you doing?
But people are going to think that you're doing David Goggins, which is like the wake up at 2:30 in the morning and like freaking, I don't know, kill a wolf or whatever they do in the morning. I don't know, dude.
All I'm saying is Walton.
And you're like, yeah, dude, I'm on that Goggins grind. And what you really mean is that your hair is slowly working its way back.
I got a couple.
So we're talking about an ancient guy.
Yeah, we're talking about an ancient guy. The guy.
A naked ancient guy is what this guy just said. What's his name again? Formosus?
Formosus.
Formosus Jones.
Yeah, he is.
Osmosis Jones.
Okay. Formosus.
That was a good pop culture reference.
Formosus was born in the year 816. There's not even a teen. Well, I guess there's a teen on the last, but it's not 1816. It's an 816. He's early.
Oh, wow.
Early world.
Yeah.
And he lived in, where did he live? Where is this? Rome. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
And he wanted to be like a bishop. He was really big on his faith, really big on, why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just trying to, do you know the ranks of the Catholic Church bishops?
Yeah. Do you know the ranks?
Nope. That's why I'm asking.
Oh,
Bishop,
okay.
Cardinals can become the Pope. Is you see that the Vatican's going to have a McDonald's now that the new Pope's American? New Pope is from the Midwest. Can't spell Pope without Ope.
What?
New Pope's from Chicago.
New Pope is from Chicago. You can't spell Pope without Ope. Okay, I get it. Okay, okay. I didn't understand what the Ope was. Okay, here it is. Here's the rankings. You start out as just an ordinary, normal, measly Catholic, right? And then what is that?
So you start as a measly, at a low life, measly little trampled on, stupid, living in the basement, drinking wine, having 7 kids, Catholic. Here's the thing. Most people stay at that bottom level because you can make out with people. Above this, you can't make out with them.
There's no more kissing.
They still do, but they get in trouble for it.
That's the thing they don't tell you about that first line in this pyramid is that line means no more kissing. You can't kiss ever again.
The papacy is a pyramid scheme is what I'm learning.
Yeah. Yep.
Is it papacy? Papacy?
I think it's papacy.
Okay.
Because he's the papa. That's why he's at the top. And so, yeah, you go measly little Catholic.
Papa.
And then you become the priests.
The priests.
And then those are the people in your local church.
Yeah.
Like priests.
Bishops are above them.
But yeah, bishops are the district managers. Archbishops
are the national.
The national reps.
Cardinals are the
global VPs.
So how many cardinals are there?
I don't know, but if you watch the movies, seems like there's a lot. Honestly, though, Cardinals goes pretty hard. Like, have you seen the pictures of like the Cardinals?
I've seen a lot of thirst traps.
Honestly, though, like the Cardinals.
I have fallen into so many thirst edits of the Filipino cardinal. I forget his name. Had he become the Pope, by the way, because he was one of the top choices, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I forget his name, the Filipino guy. My neighbors grew up with him.
Oh, that's right.
So it would have been like, oh, my neighbors know the Pope. That's pretty crazy.
You mentioned that earlier because we're recording this the day the Pope was selected.
Yeah, Pope just got chosen, baby.
You mentioned that to me that the Filipino one. You're like, oh, the Filipino one didn't get selected, and I was like,
say Filipino one. The Filipino one. That sounds
that's what you said.
Worse. That's not what I said. Is that what I said earlier? I shouldn't have. The Filipino cardinal.
You said the Filipino cardinal wasn't selected. And you said that to me. And I was like, are you following this that closely that you've like picked out a handful that you really wanted to go? Like that's what my brain went to.
You know how I found out? Saul texted me and was like, hey, here's a joke you can use. Can't spell Pope without Ope. And so that's what he texted that to me. So that's Saul Malone. That's his work.
Yeah. He used to be your opener, but now he's way further ahead of you in his career.
Saul Malone?
Yeah. He went on tour with you and opened for you for a little bit.
No.
Yes, he did.
No, you're thinking of Ross.
No, Ross did. But Saul went with you.
No.
Because after Ross, Saul went with you on one.
No, Saul tour managed me for me. He would call ahead and he would do my advancing stuff for me.
I thought
he never went with me.
Went and opened for you.
No, that'd be cool though. Saul, you want to run on the road?
Okay, anyways.
He doesn't listen to this. Saul works for bigger podcasts. Saul works for the Kelsey Brothers podcast.
Maybe if Saul would help us, we could do better.
You know what? I've tried to drop some hints.
Here's a picture.
Saul knows Michelle Obama.
Here's a picture of the Cardinals just going hard.
Dude, isn't that
there's a lot
freaking...
It's pretty cool. There is something...
Here's the thing. I mean, okay, so that's why I was interested in the papacy, however you say it. I am interested in... This is hundreds of years of tradition that we do it this way.
Yeah.
And like they closed the Sistine Chapel, and the fact that they chose like the next day, like it's just... It's crazy stuff.
It's cool.
It's so... And we've talked on this podcast before about how there's not a lot of cultural rights that we have in American culture because it's all these different islands, and really American culture is just buying stuff. That's what we've got.
It's a good culture.
We've got just buying stuff.
Speaking of, you should buy our merch. Go to shop.TILLN.
I wasn't trying to plug. Hey, actually, I do want to take a moment to say this.
Sucks.
I do actually want to take a moment to say this. Hold on. I do want to take a moment.
Okay,
I do want to say this.
All right, take a moment to say this.
Because this is real. Because I really do think our culture is just buying stuff. Like everything in my life is an advertisement. I'm so mad that my Echo, like in my living room where I looked up my weather the other day, and there's a little widget that's an advertisement for a shower curtain next to the weather. And that made me so angry. So I just want to make sure that when you're listening to this podcast, you should know that joining us on Patreon... No, I'm not joking. Hold on. Let me finish through.
Yeah, listen to this ad.
No. Joining us on Patreon is you're not missing anything. I'm not going to sell you the Patreon as like, oh, this will make your life better. And if you don't do it, then you're really missing out.
It will.
Listen, joining the $20, like you get to join our hangouts or whatever, but please do not feel like if you don't have the ability to support us, like there will always be a free option of this show, and you can listen to it and enjoy it. And like there's certain perks that come with joining a Patreon, but it's not like you're missing out. I hate whenever it's like, hey, join Patreon, you get 3 extra episodes. And because I even tried to listen to a podcast that I listened to. This is where it got me really mad. Yeah. As I landed, I had to drive, so I landed at LAX, I landed like 11 p.m. I got to drive 45 minutes home. And I was like, okay, I'll just put the podcast on. And it's usually available. I went to go click on it, and it was like, now it's $2.99 if you want to listen to it the day it drops. Yeah. Or you got to wait 3 days, and then you can listen to it.
Yep.
We won't do that to you.
Yeah.
You get early access, but we're never going to paywall it. So it's just, that makes me, so I'm serious when I say like, our Patreon is like, it's a way to support the show and help us grow it. That's cool. That's fun. We love doing our hangouts. You get extra perks, but you're not like missing out by not being a part of it. I don't want you to have FOMO.
100%. Yeah.
Because this is a consumer culture. But
if you join our Patreon, then you can join a Discord with the hosts and producers. Hey, you can get to know us. You can go on Patreon Hangouts and become our
hosts and producers.
If you pay
he says that all the time like it's not us.
You can. The only way to get
our hosts and producers.
And I'm going to be honest with you.
Alex isn't in there. Let's be real.
You're missing out on a lot from not being a Patreon.
I'll tell you who does listen to the podcast because he's an American, a true red-blooded American, the Pope.
The Pope does.
So this guy's a bishop, which is the third layer of the thing.
He's not a bishop yet. He wants to be a bishop.
Oh,
so he's pursuing the life of a bishop. I think he's just a regular measly old Catholic. He's out here kissing.
Isn't that the rule for priests? Like you've never...
I don't know if it's you never, but it's you definitely never can again. Yeah. I don't know if it's you never have.
Okay.
But it's definitely you never will.
Okay.
I don't know that much. But so he grows up, goes to Catholic schools, goes to the whole route. Seminary. That was the word I was trying to remember. Sure. After going through all that, he ends up getting placed. He became, and we're going to fast forward a long time. He was born 816. We're going to fast forward all the way to 864, where he does end up becoming the cardinal bishop of the Suburbicarian Diocese of Portus. Portus was a suburb of Rome.
Okay.
Which is interesting now that I haven't thought about this before, but Suburbicarian, I guess I just didn't realize there was suburbs in 864.
Yeah. There's been suburbs because like the whole thing is that you try to live as close to the kingdom as you can.
Yeah, but like you couldn't commute into Rome. People that have jobs where they commuted into Rome. Yeah, they lived in barracks on the edge of town. But they're still in town. They're still in city limits. They're still in kingdom limits.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the edge of town is a suburb.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. This is interesting to me.
I mean, it's just like if a smaller little community pops up over here and they build close to this city, that's kind of like, it's like, oh, we're technically a different place or whatever.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, well. So he becomes bishop.
Okay, well, all right. So he's the archbishop.
No, he wasn't.
No, he's the cardinal.
He's the cardinal bishop. I'm going to be honest. I don't understand this because it says cardinal bishop. Maybe this is different at this time because like this, calling him the cardinal bishop, he's two of these things and he's not the one in the middle. I don't know what the function is.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just cardinals. I think it's called a cardinal bishop. I think it's like a.
Oh, so it's like your.
Yes.
Bishop, archbishop, cardinal bishop.
Yes.
This just says cardinals.
Yes, because it wouldn't fit in the tiny square up there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm asking.
All right. You're asking who?
The internet. Okay. Yeah, cardinal bishop. Yeah, that is what you call it. These cardinals are. The cardinal bishop is the highest rank within the cardinals. So you have the cardinals, and then at the top,
and then you have cardinal priest,
the cardinal
bishop.
Yeah, you have the
cardinal archbishop.
For each of these, you have Catholic, regular old measly Catholics, but then each of them, you've got. If you're a cardinal, you have the regular old measly Catholic cardinals.
Except the Pope, there's
priest
only one
cardinals,
of those.
Bishop cardinals. Yeah, that's why it's so special, is because there's only one. Okay, now that we've established Catholic culture,
but in order to become Pope, you have to have been a cardinal.
I think so.
Okay,
I think so, but you can't. Yeah, I think so.
Like they couldn't just call us up and be like, "Yeah, I want to be Pope."
Yeah, maybe. Let's find out. Can anyone be the Pope? Technically, any baptized Catholic male could become Pope. So if you're anywhere on this pyramid, as long as you've been baptized Catholic, you can become the Pope. You've been baptized Catholic, right? Were you baptized as a kid? Yeah, so he could have been Pope.
That's not Alex, by the way. Alex is gone today, so if this episode sucks, it turns out he was pretty crucial. So we have Tim's brother-in-law. We're big on nepotism around here.
Yep. If you want to get anywhere in TILLN, here's the deal. You don't have to pay for it. You're not missing out if you not paying for something, but you are missing out if you're not related to us.
Yeah. You gotta be a part of this.
Okay, so Formosus, he becomes the cardinal bishop, top cardinal of the cardinals.
He's like 50.
Yeah, in a suburb of Rome.
Okay.
2 years later, he gets appointed by the Pope Nicholas I.
Okay.
To be a legate to Bulgaria, which is like a missionary, I think,
sure.
or like a maybe a better word is like a diplomat.
Okay.
Because they're not really like this era especially. I mean, I think any era of the Roman Catholic Church, but this era especially, the Catholic Church and the government are very intertwined. It's not very much separate stuff.
Right.
So he goes to Bulgaria and he's doing missions and government diplomacy stuff. And he gets to know Boris the First, which is another, what I think was the arch cardinal bishop of Bulgaria.
Okay.
Or wait, no, he was a bishop. I told you on the way here. I told you on the way here, I was like, there's a lot of characters in these episodes. I'm going to have a hard time keeping track of all of them.
Okay.
So just don't worry about it. I'm going to mess this up. Boris, he is a bishop, and he requests that Formosus becomes the Archbishop of Bulgaria. Here's the problem with that. You cannot sit what they call 2 Cs
Right.
in the Catholic Church. So I can't be the Arch-Cardinal Bishop.
And the legate.
Well, no, you can be the legate. The legate's just like a diplomat. But I can't be the Cardinal Bishop of Portus and also the Cardinal Bishop of Bulgaria.
Okay,
you can't do both of those. You can only do one because you couldn't like remote work at the time.
Yeah.
You can't quiet quit the Roman Catholic Church.
Sure. God will find you.
God will find you. And so he requests this, but because of that rule, it gets shot down.
Mm-hmm.
And there was it was kind of an interesting thing. I don't want to say scandal. Scandal's too strong of a word for that. But there was a little bit of a, what's going on here? What's she trying to do? And it's weird because technically he didn't even try to do it. Someone else was like, hey, that guy should be the guy.
Right.
And then everyone's like, he can't be the guy. He's the guy at the other place. And then they're like, oh, bummer. And then some people are like, he's trying to be the guy at that place. It'd be
like if, and this has never happened. Not even joking. It'd be like if a girl gave me her phone number. That's never happened. Don't worry about it. And then my wife was like, hey, why are you trying to get some other girl's phone number? I'm like, I didn't do that. That was her. And then she was like, well, that's unacceptable that you did that.
Yeah.
I didn't. She saw my fresh TILLN merch that I was wearing and thought, man, that guy's hot.
Yeah.
So you aren't missing out if you don't join Patreon, but you are missing out if you don't buy TILLN merchandise.
At shop.tilln.com. It'll get you phone numbers.
Please edit out the way that Tim said that.
Our merch will get you kissed. Try to get kissed? Get shop.tilln.com. Try to get kissed. It'll disqualify you. Trying to get disqualified from becoming the Pope. Shop.tilln.com. What is this? What are you doing over here? Okay. Okay, so he's doing his diplomacy thing to Bulgaria. It's a tiny little bit of a scandal, right? Very small, little bit of a scandal. Hey, focus. Come on, bring it back. What are you doing? Thank you. You're supposed to laugh more at this show. All right, so thank you. He does Bulgaria.
Would you put your hand behind your screen like this for a second? So I could be like, yeah, that's all I wanted. That's the thumbnail for this week's episode. It's just me only anyway. In the early days of this show, we did affiliate ads where we were like, hey, sign up for Grammarly and use code TILLN, and we got 15 cents. And now we just do Patreon. It's a much better way. It's better for us as creators. It's better for you as listeners. And it's a much more fun way for us to interact. We do monthly hangouts on Zoom. We just hang out and play games online and get to know each other. It's a really fun time. So, but still use our code TILLN at Grammarly.com because I think it's still active. We might get a couple cents from that. Yeah. But join us on Patreon because we're having a great time.
Yeah. If you don't, we're going to have to start doing mobile game ads. So he does the thing in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Right? He does a thing in Bulgaria and then he
doesn't.
He does. He diplomatized.
Sure.
And then Boris was like, hey, be our archbishop. And everyone was like, he can't do that. And he's like, oh, sorry, I wasn't aware. And then, so then he comes home. And then when he comes home, the Pope was like, hey, you should go do the same thing in France. He goes to France, does the same thing in France, meets some people. This time, nothing, no scandal happens, But there is like, this guy's just going a lot of places. He's doing a lot of stuff. Seems like he's a little busy. And people, I don't know, there's questions in the air about him, about what he's doing out on the road. I don't know why, but there's some questions, right? And so in 875, the Emperor of Rome dies, and a new emperor is put in place. Charles, here, I'm going to show you a picture of him. We'll see if you can guess what his name is. I know I said Charles, but like he's like, a Roman emperor. So he's Charles the blank. See if you can guess by looking at him what he is. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Charles the...
Oh no. Is he a blind guy?
That's a good guess.
Is he Charles the Blind?
Close. He's Charles the Bald. It's actually kind of crazy how close you were by guessing blind. But no, he's fully sighted.
Don't say that.
He's fully...
Why'd they paint him with hair?
I don't know.
You see where I'm going, right? He's got the full freaking stick.
He does have the full stick, but I think that's just
also,
his emperor
whoever painted this only knows how to paint one face. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know how to paint different faces. It's the same face on 4 different people. That was also throwing me off. I was like, yeah. But like, they only know how to do one face. And if I had to guess what that artist looks like, I would guess that probably. Because clearly this painting, the guy has hair.
Yeah. And he's like, sorry, I don't know how to paint bald.
He's like, I don't know how to do that.
I don't know how to
It's just
bald.
round.
It's just do what you did, but less.
He's like, oh.
I can't do it. Sorry, I can't help you there. Yeah, so Charles the Bald becomes the emperor, which honestly, kind of a brutal name. I love it. I mean, some of the other pictures that are out there of him, he is bald. Okay. I don't know if he was actually bald or not, though. Like, that's the thing. Like,
sure.
This picture, he's got hair, and it's contested. Like, you see a guy who's balding. Is he balding, or is it just like hate mail? You don't know.
Okay.
So Charles
Tim's balding, though. Let's be real.
No. It's questionable.
No.
It's questionable. You don't know. You could never know for sure what's actually going on here. So he goes, Charles the Bald becomes the emperor. Hold on.
That's okay.
Formosus?
No, the whole point of a podcast is that we talk, but you just were like, so anyway, I'm talking.
I told you there's too many names here. So, when Charles the Bald becomes the president, the emperor, he becomes the emperor of Rome, and John. Now the Pope is Pope John. Nicholas is gone. We got a new Pope. This bit.
I've got other bits. You want to see them?
Sure.
What if I just start doing magic tricks? I'm trying to give you time to collect your thoughts and say more
My
stuff.
My thoughts are collected.
Okay, keep going then. Let's empty this folder.
So there's a new there's a
library, applications, Tim's brain, folder, no content. I don't know what to tell you.
Move to trash.
Move to trash.
Have you ever seen that meme? It's a GIF, and it's this old man, and he's like sitting at his computer. It's like an old school computer, like from like the 90s.
Uh-huh.
And he's there's the little desktop icon, and he clicks and drags the desktop icon to the waste bin and drops it in, and the whole computer just disappears. And he's like, "Oh, it's the whole thing."
Is that a meme or is that a sketch? Because what you just described is something that would be on like Adult Swim in between episodes.
Yeah.
It'd be like the end. There's just like a guy or a Doritos commercial from 2004, you know?
Also true.
And instead you're like, have you seen that meme? You seen that meme? God, what's happening to culture, dude?
So yeah, it's definitely a sketch.
Can't wait to see what the Pope does when the Pope's like, y'all see that meme?
How old is he?
I think he's like 12.
He's a victim child.
He's at least 12.
Chicago Pope. Honestly, that'd be pretty hard if one of their teams renamed the Chicago Pope. Oh yeah, he's old.
How old?
I mean, judging by appearances,
60s.
I don't. I'm
he
not
looks like
looking
he's
it
like
up.
in his 60s.
But yeah, judging by appearances in his 60s. So I mean,
But
he could be here
that's what I'm
for
saying.
a
He
few
doesn't
decades.
look old though.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's in his
New
60s.
Pope poping.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so Charles gets, I guess,
someone
elected.
Photoshop him in the white boots from Reno, and then he's just like new Pope goofing.
This is such a mess right now. Charles becomes the emperor.
You're not telling a
Charles
story.
becomes the emperor.
You're just telling me, you're going like, so we went over to Bulgaria, and then over there was like maybe a scandal. Not really a scandal, but then he went to France, and they were like, bonjour. And he was like, bonjour. And then he went, and then the Roman guy died. And look at this Roman guy who's called bald, but he's got hair. And it's like, and then at the end of this, you're going to be like, and then Francois or whatever, what's his Formosus, he hid a treasure. And it's just like, oh, that was what this episode was about.
So Formosus, so Charles becomes emperor.
I just don't think I think you're like, all these characters are so confusing. And it's like, I don't think you had to name them all. I don't think they matter. That's why I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself?
It's important, okay?
Okay.
So Charles becomes the emperor.
Yes.
Formosus gets a letter from Pope John VIII, who's now the Pope. Nicholas is gone. Pope John VIII is gone. And he says, hey, you want to come to Rome? And and at first Formosus is like, I don't really care about this emperor thing. I don't know if that's what he says, but he doesn't want to come.
Okay.
And the Pope writes him back and it's like, hey, you gotta come. He's like, you got to be here.
Sorry, that was phrased as a question. It meant to say, come to Rome.
I said,
it said, come to Rome, question mark?
Sorry, that was ChatGPT.
Sorry.
It should be an exclamation.
Question mark, M dash?
M dash? And so they go back and forth. He doesn't go back and forth. He stays where he's at. And then John, the 8th, is very upset about this. And so then John removes him from his post and excommunicates him from the Roman Catholic Church.
Just because he wouldn't go to Rome?
Well, it's questionable. It seems like they might have had some pre-existing beef. We don't know a lot about what was going on. We know the major events. We don't know a lot of the underneath stories here, but it seems like there might have been some more beef. And it seems like John the 8th might have been one of those people when he went to Bulgaria and was trying to become the Pope.
Was like,
or not trying to become the Pope, but yeah, he seems like one of the people who's like, that guy sucks. But it's like he wasn't really doing anything. Boris was trying to get him.
They were just looking for reasons to not like him. Sure.
Yeah, and so he gets excommunicated from the church, and so he spends a few years excommunicated, and he's just, I don't know what he does in these excommunicated years. This is in 872. This is in 872.
Okay.
And so then in we go through 3 popes. Pope Stephen V finally comes into reign. And this pope is like, hey, I don't know why you got excommunicated. That's kind of bogus. And so he's like, do you want to come be like a bishop again? And he's like, sure. And so he ends up coming back, and he ends up being back in the Roman Catholic Church. He gets de-excommunicated.
Okay. Recommunicated.
Yeah, I like that. He gets recommunicated. Pope Stephen serves his reign from 885 to 891. And in 891, Pope Stephen dies. And they did what they just recently did, where they all went in their little room and they hid in there for a little bit. And they came out and they said, we've selected a new pope. Lo and behold, they selected Formosus. So Formosus, and he, by unanimous decision, became the Pope after excommunication. With his cool hair and everything.
Pope name be?
Formosus. I don't know what his name was before he became the Pope.
Oh, okay.
Because that's an interesting thing about Catholic Church. If you don't know this, when the Pope becomes the Pope, he just gets a new name. And he's now whatever. And I think they get to choose. Do they get to choose? Yeah. It's kind of interesting. And then what
would your Pope name be?
Well, my Pope name be? I don't know. He chose.
Mine would be Subway King.
I mean, he chose
Subway King the first. Or second, if someone else did it first. I doubt it, but if they did.
What is... Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. Okay, so Subway King. Subway King in Latin is Subway Rege. I am
Pretty
Pope,
cool.
I'm Pope Subway Rege.
Subway Rege.
I can't believe they don't have Subway in Latin. Even if you separate it into like 2 words.
So he really kept that haircut his whole life, huh?
Well,
that's intentional. Because like balding doesn't work like that, you know?
Interesting. If you call it Way King, if you do Way King, it's Moto Rex. So you could be Sub Moto Rex. Is honestly pretty
Sub-Moto
freaking
Rex?
sick. I'm Sub Moto Rex.
Heck yeah.
Hello, it is I, Sub Moto Rex.
Yeah, I sound like the evil Transformers.
Yeah. The Decepticons.
The Decepticons, that's right. Yes. I could recall that because I am also a nerd.
Don't act like I'm the nerdy one here.
I don't know, dude.
Subway
You just
King
recalled.
is your RuneScape name.
No.
No, yeah, he's got a new account.
Submoto Rex. Actually, my new account, if you want to follow along with my current RuneScape journey, my current username is Costco Dog. D-O-double-G. Just so you know. Costco space D-O-double-G.
Okay, so he becomes the Pope.
It's the RuneScape D-O-double-G.
He chooses Formosus, which means hot
Did you get that
face.
reference I was making? That's a
Yes, I
Lecrae
got
song.
it. It's a Lecrae song. He becomes the Pope. He chooses...
G-O-double-D. It's God. Get it?
Okay.
G-O.
I'm over this bit. So he becomes the Pope. He becomes the Pope, right? And one of the jobs of the Pope in this era was a few things.
Okay.
Obviously, all the religious stuff, right? But they would prop up the emperor, and really, it was the nobles that elected the emperor. And it was kind of like, it was one of those things where it was like the Pope didn't pick the emperor. There was a vote among the nobles.
But the Pope had influence.
I mean, I think it was more than influence. I think it was one of those things where the Pope made the decision and the nobles were like, that's my vote.
Yeah.
But it was like, technically speaking, it was one of those things.
Yeah.
And he really did not like the current reigning emperor at the time when he was there. It was a guy by the name of, I will show you a picture. Actually, let's do this. I liked that we did this last time. And so let's do it with this one. What do you think this guy's name is? This is perfect because this picture has a bunch of Latin on it, but you can't read that. What do you think they called this guy?
Any time now, buddy. Okay.
He's a Roman emperor.
I'm gonna try to read the stuff at the top. Juicy Americus Abbas. Juicy. This is
Pope Juicy.
This is a Pope or Emperor?
Emperor. This is Emperor Juicy. This is Emperor Juicy.
Am I
America.
right?
Not even close. Couldn't be further.
Emperor Juicy. Okay.
This is Emperor Guy the Third.
Guy?
Yeah.
Heck
Guy
yeah,
the
dude.
Third of Spoleto. And Formosus did not like him. Formosus was not a fan of Guy the Third. He forced...
So is the episode, just thinking about how I'm going to market it, is this just a list of people Formosus didn't like?
We're getting there. Formosus did not like Guy the Third.
Yeah.
Guy the Third, in the political power plays that they did, he was really pushing, I think
this is where the story probably could have started, just for a future. Whenever we have to re-record this because he didn't capture audio the way that Alex is supposed to. Just so you know, I don't think we had to do the whole back. I think you could have just started here.
No, it's helpful. It's helpful.
As soon as you get to the interesting part, I'll be like, this is where the story is. Formosus then invented sea monkeys. And you're like, oh my gosh, dude. What are we even talking about?
So Guy the Third, here, this is the thing about...
This is the parts of the episode where I genuinely feel this way. Like, this isn't a bit. This is the parts of the episode where I'm like, I think I don't
want to be here. Okay, so Guy the Third. It's interesting because the Pope had a lot of influence. The Pope kind of made the choice, but also the emperors had a lot of influence, and it was this weird power struggle between the two of them because there was an emperor and there was a pope, and they had like basically equal power, but not really. It's very weird. And so Guy basically forced Formosus to crown his son Lambert as co-emperor. And so they're like, you guys can both be emperors. So there's 3 people with a lot of power.
Formosus was like, my son gets to do that too.
Yeah. No, Guy was like, my son gets to also be the emperor. And Formosus is like, I don't want to do that. And Guy's like, yes,
that's not how this works.
Yeah. And Guy was like, no.
And his son's over there with a VR headset on. I get to be the Pope, or I get to be the Emperor.
I'm the Emperor too. I'm Guy
the Emperor. I'm Guy number 4.
I get to be Guy number 4. Put it in the credits.
Oh my gosh.
And so Formosus,
freaking in a hot tub with a Game Boy.
Not even like it's like an old first edition Game Boy. Then he gets mad.
I hate the Italians. I don't know. Was there?
Throws it in the water.
They are the Italians.
Yeah, they are Italians.
Stupid.
Throws it in the water. Grabs a fresh one. He's got a stack.
I can't believe. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know that your life resets. He just thinks that when Mario dies, he's like, this device is done.
Takes the new Game Boy. It's not making any
He's throwing him out the window of
the palace. There's so many Game Boys piled up outside the palace.
It's crazy that at the moment he's playing this Mario character, he's playing a future Roman. You know what I'm saying? Like, future Romans are the stereotype of this Mario character.
It's long after him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Formosus,
I'm sure that the Italians would rather be remembered as the emperors and not
the little plumber with the cool mustache.
Yeah, when I'm watching The Sopranos, they're like they're doing these characters of us, and they're really mad about the Italian stereotypes. But they're like, we used to conquer this stuff.
Yeah, used to. That's the point. Used to, and now you just blow up restaurants. That's the Sopranos are mafia.
Hey, that grenade was across the street.
Okay, so Formosus says...
So you've seen 4 episodes of The Sopranos, so I'm gathering. The 4th episode, the restaurant explodes. I think that's as far as you've made it in the series. I'm like, that was a season 1 reference.
So Formosus...
I'm in season 5 right now.
Formosus is in this weird power struggle with Guy and Lambert.
Being like, we have a lot to get says... I promise the story's going to get interesting.
Formosus is like, we've got Guy and Lambert. He's a power struggle with
Yes.
It's like, I got to do something about it. And so he calls a guy by the name of Arnulf, who was the Duke of Carinthia.
Okay.
And he says, hey...
Carinthia.
Yeah, he says, what if you took over Rome? And he said, don't tell anyone I told you this, but these guys suck. He's like, this guy's throwing away a Game Boy every time.
That was actually in 3rd Corinthians.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't read that.
Because the 3rd Corinthians was actually just hey, also, what if you guys took over Rome?
Yeah, yep, exactly. So
wait, so this guy is the Pope.
This guy's the Pope.
And he is covertly trying to get someone else to overthrow the Roman Empire.
Yes. Well, not the empire.
Just the emperor.
The Roman. Yeah. Because Carinthia is still
part of it.
Part of the empire. But it's the Duke. And this is an interesting part of the Roman, Holy Roman Empire because it's so fractured and there was so many of these power struggles going on all the time. This was at the point where it was kind of like on its long, slow decline of the Roman Empire. At this point, it's Holy Roman Empire. Anyways, so in 894, Arnulf is like, sweet, I'm going to do it. And so his army occupies Rome, and Guy ends up dying in December of that year. And then his son, Lambert, was left in the care of his mother, whose name is Ageltrude.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Long story short. In the fall of the following year, Arnulf ends up getting into the empire and getting to a position where he can gain some power.
Okay.
And so for the next, let's see here.
So this is like Game of Thrones kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later, so in 896, at the age of 80, Pope Formosus dies.
Okay.
That's the end of the story.
Okay. Formosus.
Yeah, Pope Formosus dies.
Okay.
A new pope is elected, Stephen VI. And Stephen VI is one of those guys who also has some beef with Formosus. He's still very upset about everything Formosus did. I think it goes back all the way back to his Bulgaria thing. And so now he is the pope. And what ends up happening, there's a big power struggle. What ends up happening is Lambert is back in power and is the emperor again. Pope Stephen the Sixth is trying to get on Lambert's good side. And so he's like, yeah, Formosus sucked, didn't he? That guy was the worst. And
but he doesn't. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he says, you know what we should do? We should make him pay for his crimes. And Lambert is like, that's a great idea.
He's dead.
He's like, what do you got in mind? And he's like, why don't you show up to this synod? I'm gonna hold a synod, which synod is just like a church service. And he's like, we're gonna hold him in court, basically. And so he's like, we're gonna do an absentee court. And so they've done this before, where they will bring people and the person who's being tried is absent. But it's like a symbolic trial where they're like, we're gonna punish him for his crimes and hold him accountable for his crimes. And so this is a relatively normal thing, and people are like, a lot of people show up expecting this to be what
Didn't
normally
we just
happens.
joke about this earlier?
What?
Holding dead people accountable for their crimes?
And so
you were there, right?
You were there, right?
We did joke about this. We did this whole bit earlier but off the podcast about holding dead people accountable for their crimes.
I don't remember this bit.
All right, I'll do it again then. Let's hear it. Let's hear the Cadaver Synod.
Yeah, and so a bunch of people show up.
Did they pull a dead body into court?
A bunch of people show up. This is 7 months after...
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you guys want to see a dead guy?
So this is 7 months after Formosus dies.
Okay.
The Pope walks in and he says, today we're trying the previous Pope, Pope Formosus, for his crimes. And what he then turned and had some of his deacons carry in the body of Formosus that he had exhumed, and they sat him on St. Peter's throne.
In the chair.
They sat him on St. Peter's throne, and they had him in papal vestments. So he was dressed up very royal like the Pope. And he actually placed a young deacon in his 20s. And he said, you're going to play the role of the Pope. And so you're going to sit behind the chair and you're going to talk for him.
First of all, being dead, would not recommend. It's not a good time. Second of all, I am not guilty of whatever this is a witch hunt.
Hey, by the way, this is the middle of the church comedy tour. Today is June 10th, which means I'm in Coleman, Alabama tonight, and we're doing Texas all of this weekend. So if you've not got your tickets, please do that. All of my shows are at jaronmyers.com/shows. We're working on a lot more for later this summer and then the fall. So that's probably been updated by now. Please go check it out. I would love to see you at a show. It really is, just so you know, at most of my live shows, people are driving a couple hours, 2-3 hours away, and everyone who does that is a TILLN fan. So you can come meet other TILLN fans at their shows.
Ones.
Yeah.
You're the best ones.
Thanks for supporting what I do. Back to the episode.
Amen.
This is crazy.
Because here's the thing. If you can't try a dead guy, This is what we were joking about earlier. We said if you want to punish someone after they die for the stuff they did, you could just make up a bunch of stuff about them because they can't defend themselves.
I remember that bit.
Yeah. And so you just tarnish their legacy because they can't defend themselves. Well, I mean, I guess if you get a
20-year-old deacon,
your 20-year-old Jeff Dunham lawyer.
And so they held a trial with this body. Here's a close-up of the Pope at this Cadaver Synod. And so everybody's sitting in this service, and they're like, there's a dead guy sitting in that chair. Here's another painting of the event. He's the one that's purple.
The one that's blue.
And what is really interesting is Pope Stephen comes in so hot. And he is described as not just like being accusatory, but being like furious. He is screaming at this corpse in this room. And the deacon is trying to respond.
The deacon's like... You know his ears fell off a couple days ago, right? He can't even hear you.
He can't hear you.
He's been dead for a while.
Oh, first of all, you're coming off really bad right now, Paul.
Dude. First of all, this guy is going to be great in the movies. We should put this guy on movie sets. Oh, sorry. Movies are...
We haven't done those yet.
Sorry. They're like stillies, but they're movies.
They're like stillies.
You know what I'm saying? And a stilly...
Movie got its name because it moves? Is that how dumb we are?
Yeah. Isn't that ridiculous?
It's a movie.
It's a movie one. The one that moves. It's a movie thing?
That's so annoying.
Show me those movie pictures.
I hate that. How have I never connected those dots either?
I don't know. I made it up. I don't know. I would guess.
It makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. Anyways, so they do this whole trial, and it's not a good look for Stephen VI.
Yeah.
He's very fired up about
It's clearly like
nobody saw
his freaking...
Nobody saw it coming.
Yeah.
And so then, anyway, at the end of the trial, they find him guilty. They find Pope Formosus guilty.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, well, I don't think we have a choice.
And so they take all his papal vestments from his body. They rip them off of his body, and they say, "You're not a pope anymore." And he's like,
and
"Yeah."
He's like, and then the voice behind him goes, "Obviously, I haven't been the Pope for 7 months because I'm dead. I'm not the Pope. I'm dead."
And then
he's looking down from heaven or looking up. I don't know where he went. And and he's looking down from heaven, and he's just like, "Oh wow, glad I'm not there right now.
Glad I'm not him." And so he gets stripped of his papacy.
You were yelling at a dead guy right now. That's what I tell people when they yell at me.
You were yelling at a dead guy.
Like some lady in public, like you know, like whenever you see those viral TikToks and people are like, how do you sleep at night? And I'm just in my head, I'm like, you're yelling at a dead person. I don't care about this.
Saying
at all.
that out loud to someone.
You're yelling at a dead person.
Disarming that is.
It's like, you know what was interesting?
Nobody else can see me. You look crazy.
I reposted the Chick-fil-A rap. And I was telling my manager the other day, it's so interesting how every time I posted, the comments are mad about something different. Like the first time I posted it, obviously it was 2017, so it was kind of close to like the Chick-fil-A giving their money to organizations that were doing conversion therapy stuff. Yeah. So people were commenting and being like, "Oh, they hate gay people" or whatever. Yeah. And then I posted it in like 2020. Yeah. And people were like, "Oh, of course he's using black music." That kind of thing. Yeah. And then I posted it again in 2021, and it was what were they mad about then? Anyway, this time I posted it, probably. Yeah. And then I posted this time, and I'm not joking, like every other comment. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Is like it's always something else. Every other comment right now is, "Oh, why does our chicken have 55 ingredients?" And all this. It's the people who like the dihydrogen monoxide meme where they don't understand ingredients. Yeah. Literally though, someone posted and said, "Here's the ingredients for one piece of chicken," and they posted the ingredients, and I started reading through it. And I don't know if this person's dumb. I do know they're dumb, but I'm saying like I don't know if they meant to be this dumb. but they posted the ingredients for a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
So when it says like it's got like flour and anti-foaming agents, they're like, what does the chicken need anti-foaming agent? You're like, hey, because they're making bread, you moron. That's
Have you ever heard of bread?
Well, what are they? Do you think they're putting pickles in the chicken?
The chicken.
That's the pickles are part of the sandwich.
Secret to a good slice of chicken is fill it with pickles. Take all the chicken out.
Or
fill
like
it with
even
pickles.
like they're like, no, that's the fillet, and you're like, did you just find out about seasoning and breading? Like what?
Yeah,
Like
have you never heard of this?
it's
stuff?
crazy how dumb people are.
Yeah, it's
is what
pretty
I'm
bad.
saying.
It's pretty bad right now.
But anyway, that's what I was saying is that like people just change what they're mad about all the time. It's very interesting to me.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that is interesting. Do you think that it's changed what people are mad about, or do you think the algorithm has hit different angry people?
No, I think that they're I don't know. This is the other thing too, is people comment. I was thinking about this. People comment on it and they go, one person commented and was like, oh man, I like the lyrics, but I wish that you had done this. And like I was really waiting for a bar that was like, dang, that was great. He goes, but I think this is a good start. And it's just like, hey man, I'm a comedian, not a rapper. Like I'm not
like you're like
I don't know what it is.
You. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what it is where people are like, you know what? My thoughts need to be heard.
Yeah.
And you know what? Can I just tell you? And I know I'm saying this into a podcast, Mike, but my thoughts do need to be heard and yours need to be silenced. You need to shut up. You need to quit saying stuff. All right? The comments on this video turned off. You know why? Because I don't give a crap.
But leave a comment below and tell us what you think about that. So anyways, so they say you lose this court case. Couldn't defend himself. Well, kind of could. That kid could.
Yeah.
Didn't do a good job.
They got the girl from Legally Blonde and before she was good at being a lawyer.
Yeah, before she learned. And so then he gets stripped of his papacy and then literally stripped. And then they also say,
they're like, you guys want to see a naked dead guy?
They said also, as if stripping you of your papacy and then stripping your corpse wasn't bad enough, they said, we're going to cut off 3 of your fingers. And so they cut off 3 of his fingers. And there was a reason to that.
This reminds me. Okay. Hold on. So Pope Stephen is doing all this to a dead body.
Yes.
Right? This is the same. I blocked a guy on social media. I block a lot of people, just so you know. Some people are like, they'll post and be like, oh, I can't believe this person, like they blocked me because they couldn't handle the criticism. Yeah. And you're just like, no. I was freeing us both from each other. You know?
Yeah.
Like you don't got to see my stuff. I don't want to see your comments. You know? Blocked, blessed, move on.
Yeah.
Right? I blocked a guy. Do you remember me texting you about this? He fully created a website.
Yeah.
That was, I don't even remember what the website was called, but the whole website was all this stuff about how awful I am. And then he sent it to me in a message, sent me the link and was like, I hope this doesn't mess up your SEO, you loser, all this stuff. And at no point during that, making the website, buying the domain, messaging me and sending it to me, typing, I hope this doesn't did no point in that whole process did he go, is this why I got blocked? You know? And like Pope Stephen.
Should I be blocked?
Digging up a dead body. Dressing him in
just
the paper
picture him out there,
putting him in the throne, calling the whole Catholic Church together, and then putting together a defense and a prosecution. At no point in any of that does he go, I don't know if this is about what this guy did. I think this might be because I haven't been allowed to kiss anybody.
I think this is because I haven't kissed in a
I think
decade
I'm
and a
just
half.
freaking. You know,
officer, it's not my fault that I dug up that body.
Something else going on.
I haven't kissed anyone in a decade and a half.
Sorry, I blew that red light back there.
I haven't kissed in a long
My
time.
lips haven't touched the lips of another.
It's a crazy defense. In court. Yeah, do you have anything to say? Yes. I just haven't kissed in a while.
I haven't seen my wife in 6 months.
And so it's not my fault. I'm sorry I killed that guy, but I haven't kissed in a while. Oh, well, why didn't you say that? We didn't know.
I killed that guy. I put him on trial, and I cut off 3 fingers. All I needed was a hug.
All I needed was someone to care.
All I needed was the emotional intimacy of a close relationship.
Yeah, so specifically they cut off the 3 fingers that he blesses with and does the cross. So there was a purpose. It wasn't just like give me 3 of his fingers. It was like there was.
Now he's forever being like freaking.
That's where it came from. And then they said, okay. And then he drug him outside the service and threw his body into the Tiber River and was like, yeah, so pretty bitter.
Okay.
So a few weeks later, a poor fisherman found this body on the river and was like, "Oh, sick!" And he's
Are
like,
you saying unfortunate, as in like this poor fisherman, or like this guy just got no money and he's just like, finally I found the Pope.
Fortunately, yeah, I'm saying fortunately, this guy happened to catch the Pope.
Unfortunately,
no, I said fortunately.
Oh, okay.
Fortunately, this guy happened to catch the Pope. And then he held on to him for a little bit. He's like, this might be worth something in a little bit. It was kind of like he found a Pokemon card. He's like, I want to hold on to this just in case it's worth something.
Pokemon card.
Pokemon. Formosus does kind of sound like a Pokemon.
To catch them all.
Yeah, I got my shiny red Formosus. Found him in the Tiber River.
So this fisherman has the Pope.
Yeah, so this fisherman caught the Pope, drug him out of the water, held on to him for a little bit. Here's the deal. Nobody liked Stephen's stunt.
Okay.
Stephen...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This doesn't seem like something that's like, I feel like this is something that your friend is like, you know when your friend is telling you about a situation and you realize midway through the story that they're the one that's definitely in the wrong?
Yeah.
Like that's what this feels like.
Well, Stephen expected after this for everyone to be like, dang, Stephen, that was sick. Like
that was
nice.
really cool.
That was so cool.
I love that you
did.
beat up a defenseless dead guy.
It was so sick that you yelled at a dead dude.
The power that you exerted over that dead guy. If you weren't a priest, I'd kiss you right now.
But I can't. You're too holy for me to kiss you, right? Right? I couldn't do that.
Right? Yeah, you're right.
You're right. Should we carpool?
How many kisses do you get? None.
None. I hate how many Pope kiss bits we have in this episode.
Popes be kissing, bro.
Popes be kissing. I'm going to kiss that Pope.
Tim's just trying to get an out of context quote. That's all he's trying to do. All he's trying to do is be like, these are going to go in the theme song. We play the theme song again, right? So play it now. Honestly, play the theme song now.
It's a good time for it. So everyone's like, Stephen, what was that, dude, bro?
Yeah.
And so Stephen,
brother,
his whole pontificate goes downhill. Everyone's like, we're not fans of this guy anymore. Specifically, one of the most important parts of this was Lambert, the emperor.
Yeah.
Because it very much seems like this whole thing was designed. I think he had his own personal beef with him, but there was also this political thing where it was like, this is going to make Lambert like me. And Lambert was like, bro, that was freaking weird, dude. And Lambert was like, bro, that was freaking weird, playing his little Game Boy. Lambert burned through 20 Game Boys at this synod, at the Cadaver Synod. And so it didn't go over well for him, right? What ends up happening is Stephen dies. It was like a normal death. It wasn't a huge big thing. And so a new Sergius III becomes the Pope. And when he becomes the Pope, he was like, yeah, what was up with that Stephen guy? And he's like, does anybody know what happened to the body? And the fisherman's like, I got him. Is he worth something now? And he's like, well, we're not going to pay you for him, but we're going to give him a proper burial. So they take the body. They end up giving him a proper burial in like the actual like Vatican or whatever. I don't think the Vatican was built yet, but you know what I'm saying. The holy place where they bury all the popes.
The Arlington Cemetery. Put him next to JFK.
A lot of people don't know that, but like, oh, you'll find out. You'll find out when you're older. What if that's how popes talk to everybody?
You'll find out when you're older. The giver.
And so They reconsecrated him, made him a pope, put him back in the lineage.
Did all that for nothing, huh?
Yeah, they sewed his fingers back on. They didn't actually do that, but they buried him. They gave him a proper burial.
So he is
and
forever
they put him,
pretty chill.
He is pretty chill, and they put him back in the line of popes. But here's the thing: this is actually a fairly large scandal because it calls into question the infallibility of the popes. Because there's a big tradition that the popes go all the way back to Jesus. You can trace the lineage all the way back to Jesus, and there's like legitimacy to it. But the fact that one pope delegitimized another pope, there's some scholars in the Catholic Church that say that this brings question to that. If one of them can be delegitimized, how do we know that any of them were legitimate? How do we know that any of them are this holy consecrated line?
Right.
And so this is a weird event, but also for the like religion, a fairly major event.
Yeah.
But we just got a new pope. We'll see if he digs up the last one. That could happen. I'm not saying it's likely from the things that we know have happened, but if you're
I don't think we should talk about Pope Francis
if
this
you're
way. But
if you're a person who recognizes pattern, if you do pattern recognition and you know history, you know like this is possible. That's something we're seeing on social media a lot right now.
Pattern recognition.
Pattern recognition.
Yeah, it's just a different way to say.
It's a different way to say I saw someone else say this on TikTok.
Yeah.
But if you know pattern recognition,
It's okay. So people are self-diagnosing themselves with a lot of stuff. Let's talk about it in the After the Fiddle. I feel more comfortable there.
okay.
And if you don't want to miss out on the rest of this conversation, you can join us on Patreon.
Fiddle off.
Hey, thanks for being here for this episode of Things I've Learned Last Night. If you liked it and you want more of it, there's another episode you can check out about Elmer McCurdy, a dead guy. Elmer McCurdy was a dead guy who
That's all you gotta say. Just say Elmer McCurdy was a dead guy and just leave it at that.
No, they used him as a movie prop. That's enough of a... that doesn't give away a whole lot. They used him as a movie prop. Yeah. And people were like, oh, wow, look at that really realistic dead prop over there. And then someone was like, that's a guy.
That's an actual dead guy.
So go listen to that one. If you want next week's episode, it's available on Patreon right now. Thank you again to all of our Patreon supporters for making this show possible. It's just a way to help us continue to grow and spread this show like the love of the Lord. We need to spread it to the corners of the earth. And so... thank you for being here. We'll see you next week on Things I Learned Last Night.
And this show is an Evergreen Podcast Network podcast. You can find out more about their shows at evergreenpodcast.com. Thanks to Evergreen.
We're like those
Network
twins.
Podcast.
You know those twins that went viral? Those Australian twins?
Talking at the same time.
This is an Evergreen Podcast.
This is an Evergreen Podcast Network podcast. And he came at me with a knife.
And I said, no, Mom, run. He's got a gun.
He's got a gun, Mom.
Literally the last one. Run. He's got a gun. I'll tell you what. That's
such a great line.
Evergreen hates that, dude.